When the first European settlers arrived at the tip of Africa, they were overawed. Legend spoke of a place of mystery and magic, of strange sea monsters, fearsome beasts, and unearthly plants. What they found was a land of breathtaking beauty, but of sudden changes of mood. But what impressed these first settlers most was a massive flat-topped mountain that seemed to rise from the waves. They knew it as the Table of the Cape, but to the local tribes this was Hurikwago, the mountain of the sea. Two great oceans, the Atlantic and the Indian, merge near Cape Point. From here, a chain of peaks stretches up the Cape Peninsula to the great Table Mountain itself. The landscape has changed dramatically in 350 years, and the first settlers' outpost is today's vibrant city of Cape Town. Flanked by the oceans, the Cape Peninsula is indeed very nearly an island, no bigger than Greater London. Nowhere else on Earth is an area of such scenic beauty and great wealth of plant and animal life surrounded by a city of 3 million people. Among the peninsula's most recent settlers are penguins. Here, living under the hot African sun, are birds usually found in the freezing Antarctic. These African penguins recently moved into suburbia and thrive in its comfort and safety. They boldly raise their noisy families right in people's gardens and streets. Here, familiar African animals are found in an unfamiliar setting. Baboons and people rub shoulders daily, an unusual situation, and not without its risks. High above the roar of city and ocean live the real penthouse residents of the Cape Peninsula, over a kilometre up on the top of Table Mountain. There are dassies elsewhere in Africa, but they don't have this view. To get them on their feet in the morning, dassies need the sun's warmth because their metabolism is unusually sluggish. They're strange social animals, with a digestive system like a bird's, teeth like a rhino's, and their closest living relatives are elephants. Just beyond the city's sprawl grows the world's most astonishing collection of plants. The most spectacular is the giant king protea. Proteas are one of the many species that make up the Cape's very own magnificent plant kingdom called fynbos. The Cape sugarbird is only found where proteas grow. Its entire life revolves around them. The plant provides food and shelter, and in turn, the bird pollinates it. Iridescent sunbirds are important pollen couriers too. Blooms the size of dinner plates are ideal platforms for agama lizards to bask or hunt. Countless fascinating partnerships have been forged between the animals and plants of the fynbos. For its size, the Cape Peninsula has the richest variety of plants on Earth. Some, like this pelargonium, are the ancestors of hybrids that brighten the world's gardens and windowsills. Table Mountain alone has more kinds of plant varieties than all Great Britain. Summer temperatures soar. The Cape is the only place in southern Africa with no summer rain. So how does its great variety of life survive long months of drought? Out of nowhere, an almost magical cloud appears on the mountaintop. The cloud grows at an astonishing speed. Strangely, it doesn't rise, but tumbles down the steep northern ramparts of the mountain. It's triggered by the Cape's infamous southeaster wind, picking up moisture from the Indian Ocean. The mysterious cloud cloaks the mountaintop in a vital, thirst-quenching mist. Just below, the Cape's beaches are scorching. But up here, the temperature has now plummeted. Young dussies have a novel way of staying warm. Precarious, but practical. On many summer days, Table Mountain is draped in a cloud of cold white linen. Capetonians affectionately call this unusual and now famous phenomenon the tablecloth. Around midsummer, just when most mountain flowers have died, there's a sudden burst of red blooms. Competition between the myriad flowers to attract pollinators has created some extraordinary relationships. Sunbird beak and Erica bloom fit each other perfectly. When the sunbird probes this particular Erica, the anthers dramatically explode, showering the bird with pollen. Remarkably, nearly all these red flowering plants owe their existence not to birds, but to one insect, the mountain pride butterfly. Most insects can't see red, but this butterfly is obsessed by it. It's the only pollinator whose long tongue can reach the nectar deep in the crassula's scarlet well. The red blooms also lure sunbirds, whose beaks don't fit, though they often successfully rob flowers from the side. The high mountain streams sparkle with red dicer orchids. Perhaps the most special fynbos relationship is between these flowers and the mountain pride butterfly. As it probes the orchid's heart for nectar, long yellow pollen sacs become glued to the butterfly and are airlifted to the next orchid. Surprisingly, This great wealth of fynbos plants has little to offer large mammals. Soils are very poor, so the plants are unpalatable and not at all nutritious. Baboons must eat a lot to get by. With uncanny timing, the baboons head for the coast just when the tide is out. Mothers and their young find food in kelp left by the ebbing tide. It's better than scratching a living in tough fynbos. Larger males go right down to the waves. They're strong enough to overturn big rocks to find crabs and shellfish. Beaches, of course, are playgrounds, as well as picnic sites. Restaurant goers pay good money for some of the things the baboons find. Lobster, perhaps. The males have even learnt the art of eating limpets. They either prise the shells off the rocks with their long canines, or simply bite the tops off and suck out the contents. Apart from us, these are the world's most southerly dwelling primates. African penguins are endangered. Normally, they live on offshore islands. But 15 years ago, a dozen birds arrived here, and today, protected by suburbia, there are now 3,000 in this, the fastest growing colony of African penguins. It can be quite a challenge to move around out of water, especially for the young. Penguins may not be able to fly through the air, but in the water, they do just that. Summer is the time of year for wooing, a raucous but delicate affair. Onlookers always seem to poke their noses in where they're not wanted. And then they take sides. Ungulate tortoises are also courting, with all the subtlety of small tanks. With danger around, the tortoise doesn't put all her eggs in one basket. She hides them in different places. The penguin usually lays just 2 eggs. The Cape Grey mongoose is an efficient little predator. But its target right now is not the Cape francolins. It's interested in something else. Its acute sense of smell has detected freshly buried treasure. But it's got to dig quickly. Mongoose and chameleon and all fynbos animals face danger from a ruthless enemy. It can't eat the tortoise egg here. Fires are frequent in fynbos. They spread with frightening speed. Rocky outcrops make good fireproof shelters for some. Protea trees and flowers burn up, but their fire-resistant cones hide a secret. The fires here are so ferocious that everything possible must be thrown at them. By nightfall, the fire is rapidly approaching the city. It'll be a long, hard night for the firefighters. At first light, the helicopters can fly again. Huge 1,000-liter buckets quickly extinguish the last pockets of resistance. This part of the city escaped by a whisker. The mountain face is a smoldering, blackened moonscape of death and destruction. Almost nothing seems to have survived. But now, an extraordinary thing happens. Stimulated by heat, the protea cones begin to open. There are seeds imprisoned within, and fire has the power to free them. A magical chain of events is set in motion. While the ground still smolders, animals start to return. The newly freed protea seeds drift off in the wind. The rich packets of protein are quickly snatched up. But if the coming rains are late, the animals may eat too many seeds before they can shoot. The ashes have barely cooled before life emerges from them. The heat and chemicals in the smoke trigger hidden bulbs to sprout. First up are fire lilies. Some bulbs may have waited underground for several decades for flames to awaken them. Watsonia bulbs send their green spears upwards. Very quickly, the blackened landscape turns to green. Protected under the sand, one of the tortoise eggs has escaped both fire and predators. The tiny hatchling steps into a world of edible new green. Fire sparks a new growth rhythm for many plants. The hatchling's parents may have died in the fire, but they have left their legacy. Not for years will the spoon-sized hatchling join life's fast lane. Hot on the heels of fire comes an explosion of plant life. In a few short months, the ravaged landscape is dramatically transformed. The mountain's canvas is painted in fresh new colors. Fire is the lifeblood of the fynbos. Without it, it would eventually die. Soon after sending up their shoots, the Watsonias burst into bloom. Only after a fire does the mountain put on such a spectacular show. A male carpenter bee hovers possessively by a Watsonia flower. This is his new territory. He's hoping to attract a female nearby, but she's busy right now, drilling a home in a burnt protea stump. But another male has invaded the first male's airspace and rubs his own scent on a flower. He's quickly confronted by the territory holder, who buzzes his enemy from above, like a small fighter plane. But the female carpenter bee ignores the dogfight. She's gone off to the beach, to a girls-only party among blossoming orpheums. Her relationship with these flowers is an ingenious one. Other insects, like this smaller bee, struggle to release the pollen, but only the carpenter holds the key. She hugs the yellow anthers, buzzes to a different frequency, and its precise vibrations trigger a shower of pollen. The white stigma of the next orpheum flower she visits mops the pollen from her back and is fertilized. No other insect has the female carpenter's special skills. Lurking in the flowers is a well-camouflaged assassin. A Cape dwarf chameleon. Not much escapes its lightning sucker-like tongue. With pinpoint accuracy, it aims for the head of its prey, making it easier to swallow. The technique works, most of the time. Approaching night throws a dark mantle over the mountain. Now is the time when a creature of the African night heads off the mountain and into town. Table Mountain shows signs of a change of mood as it broods under dark clouds sweeping the city sky. A flurry of rain hints at approaching winter. The rain brings a gang of rowdy bachelors out on the town. Rain frogs are like miniature sumo wrestlers, not built for tight embraces. Fat males trying to grip even fatter females have to use a quick-setting secretion, froggy superglue, to solve their problem. In the orgy, males accidentally get stuck to other males. No one invited this prickly gatecrasher to dine. Under cover of darkness, porcupines slip into suburbia, where there might always be a free meal. There are others dining out in suburbia. The rain has dished up fat earthworms from underground. This largest of Africa's rodents makes a beeline, straight for a suburban vegetable patch. Iron pig to those early settlers, with quills to make a lion think twice, and death to juicy fruit and vegetables. On a few still autumn mornings, mist drifts in from the cold Atlantic Ocean. A magical time that many Cape Townians never see. The baboons' human neighbors are still sleeping under their blanket of mist. As the city starts its day, the business-like penguins begin theirs. Before heading off to work, penguins have their morning routine. First, they must wash. For a suburban seabird who's picked up tarn grime and sand overnight, it's important to keep plumage neat and well-oiled. It's also a good time to socialize and play before a long, hard day dealing in fish stocks. From all parts of the beach, the birds leave the shallows and collect in small groups. The penguins may have to swim 100 kilometers in a day in search of good fishing grounds. For safety and working efficiency, the birds need to hunt together. A single ripple, and they're gone. Cooling late autumn temperatures are a spur to sugar birds. Now is the time to proclaim a territory and impress a lady in a show-stopping display. Summer's southeaster winds switch to the chill northwest. The Cape winter is coming. Baboons must huddle tight for warmth. Summer's friendly tablecloth is gone, swept away by violent cold fronts from the Antarctic. Gale force winds lash the Cape on 100 days a year. In winter, Table Mountain turns ugly, wreaking havoc on the people and animals of the peninsula. The Cape of Storms. Each cold front brings much-needed rain to a Cape parched by summer's drought. The rainfall is higher here than anywhere else in southern Africa. Trickles soon become raging torrents that plummet down steep valleys to the sea. Spectacular waterfalls leap from high mountain streams. Under just a few, sucker-like toes betray a strange frog. The Table Mountain ghost frog can cling to vertical rocks under waterfalls. This is one of the world's rarest frogs. Very few have ever seen it, and it only lives on this mountain. Insects appear with the late winter rains. Sugarbirds switch from a diet of nectar. They now have other mouths to feed. After a mouthful, the chick defecates, and the parents neatly remove the bag of rubbish. A clean, odor-free nest will not attract predators. Sugarbird chicks are not the only youngsters around. The Dussie colony also have a new batch of babies. They feed from nipples high on their mother's chest. Black eagles are expert Dussie snatchers. The Dussies face a dilemma. They need the sun's warmth, but they're exposed to danger out here. The young are blissfully unaware of any danger, but they have help from higher places. There is always an adult on duty watch. The eagle will be back, but for the moment, the lookout has done its duty. Cape daisies herald the start of spring. They're the wild parents of perhaps the most popular garden plant of all. For weeks, dense, brilliant carpets of daisies cover parts of the peninsula. The animals seem to revel in the Cape's own Garden of Eden. Young bontaboks step out with spring. A young baboon tastes its first ever sour fig. Sour figs are strictly an acquired taste. It is an idyllic setting, but it's under attack from an invasion force of alien plants and from an ever-expanding city. Space is at a premium in this special corner of Africa, and Table Mountain and the Cape Peninsula are under immense pressure. Home from the day's fishing, porpoising the waves to get back faster. It's the penguin evening rush hour. To get onto a beach where there's now a competition for space. But they pay no attention to the crowds, as they must get home with supper. The chicks have waited all day for this. Tasty pre-packed meals of sardine and squid from the deep. Through living side by side, an unusual and perhaps unique rapport has developed between the people and the animals of the Cape. African penguins have definitely gained by being suburban settlers. However, baboons are still wild. Giving them food makes them familiar and dangerous. One bite could do a lot of damage. Greater efforts are needed to help people understand not just the penguins and the baboons, but the other important needs of a unique part of Africa they all share and must urgently look after. Until recently, the Cape Peninsula and its wildlife hadn't been given complete protection. Dramatic political changes are drawing more and more visitors here to marvel at Table Mountain. It's become South Africa's tourist mecca. Long before the first European settlers arrived here, these visitors had discovered the natural wonders of the Cape. Each year, southern right whales travel thousands of miles from their Antarctic feeding grounds to give birth and mate in the Cape's sheltered waters. The whales have special protection, but so at last does Table Mountain and all the peninsula. Sir Francis Drake described the Cape as the fairest thing we saw in the whole circumference of the earth. It's now Africa's newest national park. For the moment, the future looks a little brighter for the mountain of the sea.
Mama.